Ciao mondo, hello world, hola mundo, hello mon, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste. And in Portugal, how would you say hello monde?
Bom dia, mundo.
Bom dia mundo. We are in fact in Porto, and I'm sharing with Igor Milet and Thiago Reis, both speaking excellent Portuguese, one because he's Portuguese, the other because he's Brazilian. But they also speak a good Italian. Anyway, we're going to talk in English and present a meeting that was organized today in Porto about hemoabsorption. So what was the rationale of organizing this meeting, Igor?
Well, the truth is that in the recent years we are better understanding the evolution of the technique of hemoabsorption, and we are stressing to use it in our patient with a rational, in a rationality way. So we want to do it better, and we want to bring to Porto key speakers and key persons and to share the knowledge with us, and also to at the same time to create an atmosphere in our country that those who are interested and who wants to do it and who are interested to learn more, to be together and eventually to promote a forum of discussion of this national team, let's say, that eventually in the future we can bring some project together related with an hemoabsorption.
You mentioned specifically about immunomodulation in sepsis, right?
Well, immunomodulation in sepsis, it's one of the topics, but let's say immunomodulation in hyperinflammatory states. Many of our critical ill patients somehow in the beginning or after a major insult, they can get hyperinflamed, and sometimes many of the organ functions are related to this dysregulated inflammation. So we can talk about non-specific hemoabsorption or even in specific selective hemoabsorption, depends on the injury, on the insult, on the disease. So it's very important to, at one time, or in one hand, we can identify the correct patient, but also to endophenotype the patient to understand what we are willing to do with hemoabsorption, so we can get a good result and have a good understanding of the physiological pathway that we are going through.
Sure. And Thiago, what did you present?
Well, I presented about the structure of the cartridges, the different kind of cartridges for blood purification, and we stress that we need a right cartridge for the right patient and at the right time. I was impressed with the complexity of the questions from the audience. So Portugal, we can say that you are like leading the field of blood purification. There is a huge interest of people from here of knowing the new techniques, the new modalities, and also we had the opportunity to see what the future has for us. So Professor Ronco gave a magnificent speech about what the future will give us in blood purification, specifically with hemoabsorption.
Well, yesterday we visited the fantastic new unit in the hospital in Gaia here in Portugal, led by Igor. And today we have more than 100 people present in the room. And I was asked what the future of hemoabsorption would be, and I said, well, learn from the past, observe the present, and imagine the future. And in order to imagine the future, I presented several different options for new indications. And you mentioned inflammatory disease, but in the area, for example, of cardiorenal syndrome or neuroinflammatory disorders, etc., removal of contrast, removal of bilirubin, removal of myoglobin in crash syndrome. But I think the key of the future of hemoabsorption will be to make studies that will help us to better understand how, when, and with what kind of technique to apply hemoabsorption, and most of all, in which patient. And we recently published some papers with the ADKI group about endotyping the patient. Characterizing the population to be treated is probably the key for even small exploratory trials that, however, will have the benefit of an enriched information of the characteristic of the patient. So in this patient, we will better understand, and we will extend generalization only to that population. This will be the key to avoid the expensive failures in general studies that include a broad population where you can have a positive, negative, or neutral result. With this, thank you very much for joining today in Porto, and buen dia mundo.
Bom
Yes.
dia, mundo.
Excellent.
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 Excellent.